Hi, I'm Attila. Today I'm here to help you turn your contact center into a profit center by using skill-based routing. Call centers operate separate inbound, outbound, and back-office departments. Of course, each department has different KPIs, schedules, agent skill sets, and their own daily challenges. During this session, I will mainly focus on the challenges of an inbound operation. Inbound teams might have a perfect service level, but they often struggle with high agent available time. I've seen many contact centers with this problem, and when I dug deeper, I could see that their workforce wasn't fully optimized. Just a few months ago, one of my clients struggled with this issue. Today, I will show you how I used skill-based routing to keep their service level high without too much agent available time. Let's see what inbound call volume normally looks like. Call volume is usually low in the morning from 8 a.m. and it starts increasing between 9:30 and 11:30. Then we see a small decrease, and around lunchtime the volume increases again. Wow, we like to talk to our providers at lunchtime. After lunch, call volume is lower. Then after 3 p.m. it increases steadily as people leave work. This is all fine, but from a scheduling point of view, it's hard to follow these peaks. Agents usually work 8-hour shifts. If you add more agents to the morning shift, then the first 1 to 1.5 hours will be overstaffed. Then, when their 8-hour shift ends at 4 p.m., those agents will leave just as the afternoon peak begins. You could schedule more agents between 12 and 8 p.m., but that means you will be overstaffed between 12 and 3 p.m. and then again after 6 p.m. Let's see how we can solve that. In an environment where everyone is so keen on productivity, we don't want to throw money out of the window by overstaffing our shifts. The problem with overstaffing is that agents get bored and ineffective. There can be anything from 2 to 10 minutes available time between calls. That means you are paying for nothing. If you can afford it, that's fine. But if you want to make every second count, you need to merge your activities. Think about how many things an agent can do in 2, 5, or 10 minutes. But how can we predict when the next call will arrive in our IVR flow? This is where skill-based routing comes into the picture. First, let's clarify what skill-based routing is. If you run a quick Google search, it says skill-based routing is a call assignment strategy used in contact centers to assign incoming calls to the most suitable agent instead of the simply choosing next available agent. The need for skill-based routing has arisen as call centers have become larger and equipped to handle a lot of different call types. So if you have an IVR system with 3 options, meaning 3 different call types, your customers push a button and their calls get routed to a queue. Why is it important? Let me explain it with an example. When I started to work in a contact center, surprise, surprise, I started my career as an agent as well. I was working in the customer care line of a big insurance company. After general call center training, I received a detailed training session in compulsory liability insurance. This was one of the products with the highest number of incoming calls. Back then, January and February were the peak periods for those calls. As I was only trained to answer questions about this product, I wasn't able to handle any other calls. So there were separate queues for each product: life insurance, home insurance, and car insurance. Lines were very busy back in those days, and agents answering calls were generally assigned to only one queue. The distribution rule worked like this. Calls were routed to the next available agent with the highest available time in that queue, or productivity was not well optimized. Today, modern contact center software allows agents to log into several queues or campaigns at the same time. It means when the call volume is low in one queue, instead of sitting and waiting, agents can handle calls from different queues. This is the multi-skill function of a contact center software. Agents 1, 2, and 3 can answer only car insurance questions. Agents 4, 5, and 6 can answer car and home insurance questions. Agents 7 and 8 can handle all type of calls. This is still not the real skill-based routing, but we are getting closer. So, what happens if the company receives 2 calls related to home insurance? Agents 1, 2, and 3 won't be able to answer the calls, but the rest of the agents can. So the calls will be routed to the 2 agents with the highest available time. Let's say agents 7 and 8 have the highest available time, so they receive those calls. But what happens if another call comes in for life insurance? We know that only agents 7 and 8 are trained in life insurance, but both of them are now busy with another customer. Therefore, the caller has no other option but to wait and wait and wait until one of the agents finishes their call and the after-call administration. And if the agent decides to take a break, the caller needs to wait for even longer. Let's see the same scenario with skill-based routing. In the previous example, the 2 home insurance calls were answered by agents 7 and 8 because they had the longest available time. Now, regardless of the available time, these 2 calls will be answered in a different order. The first incoming call will be answered by agent 6 because this agent has the highest skill level. Everybody else in the team has lower skill level or no skills at all for home insurance. The second home insurance call will be routed to agent 5 because he or she is the next based on our skill level setting. Next, we receive a life insurance call. Before, this call had to wait in the queue as there were no available agents with life insurance skills. But with skill-based routing, the third call will be routed to agent 8 because this agent has the highest skill level in life insurance. Instead of having to wait, this call will be answered immediately. If there is a fourth home insurance call, then in both scenarios, the call will be answered by a different agent. With multi-skill setting, the agent with the longest available time is agent 6. With skill-based setting, the next highest skill level agent is agent 4. Using multi-skill routing, we have no available agents in that queue and we already have 1 call waiting. With skill-based routing, there are still available agents in all queues. Just to make the situation even more interesting, let's say we receive another life insurance call. What will happen? With multi-skill setting, we'll have a second caller waiting in the queue, but with skill-based routing, the 5th call will be routed to agent 7 who can immediately answer the call. So instead of 2 already frustrated callers waiting in the queue, all calls are answered in time with skill-based routing. So now that we understand skill-based routing, let's see how we can benefit from this feature. Let's look at this real case from my previous client. If we don't have skill-based routing with skill level settings, then the calls would be distributed like this. Nearly the same number of calls per agent in a given period and high available time. As mentioned before, we don't know if this available time is 2, 3 or 5 minutes. It's pretty random, but we can see that agents mostly have the same amount of available time. If you set the skill levels of the agents, agent 1 has the highest and agent 10 the lowest level, then the call distribution will look like this. Agent 10 did not answer any calls. Agent 9 answered 1 and agent 8 answered only 2 calls. At the same time, agent 1 and agent 2 were constantly receiving calls with only a minimum of available time. Cool! Productivity maximized. It's important to mention that we had the same service level and still saved agent 10's complete workload. We saved 10% of our workforce. And if we pay a little bit more with settings, we can save even more. On the next chart, we can see 54 calls altogether. Our service level is 94.4%. In the previous chart, we redistributed 2 calls from agent 8 and 1 call from agent 9. These calls will most likely be handled by agent 6 and 7. What happens in this case? Do callers need to wait a few seconds in the queue? Yes, it's possible. How would that affect our service level? It might decrease in the worst case scenario to 90.7%. But we saved 30% of our workforce. The 30% extra workforce was assigned to back office activities like email handling or other administration tasks. First, we ranked our inbound agents based on their skill set on call handling and email handling. Second, we ranked our back office agents to find the best performing agents who could also answer calls. Third, we held training sessions for both departments, set up a pool of multi-skilled agents and ranked their skill levels. Finally, we adjusted our schedules based on the expected call volume peaks. The example shows you how you can merge inbound calls with back office activities. But you can blend inbound and outbound activities as well. By using modern contact center software, your agents will be able to log into secondary inbound campaigns as well as their primary outbound campaign. We call this an internal inbound overflow, and it helps to keep your service level high in the case of an unexpected peak. When you blend your inbound and outbound activities, you need to be careful with planning and scheduling to make sure you don't endanger your outbound capacities with overflow calls. Think of it as an emergency reserve, but if you do this, make sure to carefully monitor everything. There is another great solution to merge your inbound calls from different campaigns. It's call blending, and it's commonly used by outsourced contact centers to handle different campaigns with low call volume. Managing call-blended campaigns or projects is an effective method to merge inbound calls, but it definitely requires close monitoring and highly skilled agents. I use call blending when my team works on several small projects. Why is call blending the perfect option for a small projects team? I'll show you an example. Some of my clients actually leverage this option and offer valuable services to their customers. In most countries, when you run a business, you need to have a customer service line available for your customers. This is mandatory by law. Whether you have a small web shop or you run a big business like eMag, Agora or eBay, you need to offer client services. With a small business, the incoming call volume can be as little as 20 to 30 simple calls per week. If you want to answer these calls with a high service level as fast as possible, you need to set up a call center, even if it's just one person sitting there. And you need to dedicate enough time to answer those calls. Even without the technical setup, the software and hardware, the cost of human resource can be pretty high. And the cost per call would be incredibly high. With this in mind, I set up a small project team in our call center. We train the agents of the small project team. We are talking about just a few agents here. We created an easy-to-use Q&A platform and a simple administration tool for them. We set their inbound skills high for these small inbound projects in order to handle these calls with high priority. As we blended several small campaigns with low call volumes, we didn't have a dedicated agent to a single project. Serving 10 clients with 2 or 3 agents is pretty cost effective. We offer this service at a low price, about 30% of their budget, but if you add up the revenue of these 10 small projects, you will see what a lovely margin we were able to make. The client was happy and satisfied, agents received a small reward after each handled call, and as an outsourced contact center, we made the highest profit with these small projects. Skill-based routing allows contact centers to increase their productivity and keep their service level high. As you can see from my example, with the right settings, you can even save 30% of your workforce that you can then allocate to other departments. Thank you for joining this session today, and if you have any question about how to leverage skill-based routing, feel free to reach us at academy@vcc.live. Also make sure to browse other content here at VCC Live Academy. Thank you very much. See you soon.